Have you ever had that strange gut feeling like something's off, but you just couldn't put your finger on it? You're with her. Everything seems fine on the surface. But deep down, a quiet voice whispers, "She's not really in this." You're not paranoid. You're perceptive. And in today's video, we're going to uncover 11 hidden signs she's not loyal. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And we're going to do it through the eyes of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who understood the human mind better than most psychologists today. If you're tired of confusion, mixed signals, and emotional games, this video might just save your love life. But before we dive in, take a second to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Because here, we don't chase drama. We seek truth through the timeless lens of Stoic philosophy. And trust me, watching this video till the end will give you the clarity you've been searching for. The Stoic lens? What would Marcus Aurelius say? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This wasn't just a quote, it was a worldview. Now imagine applying that same clarity-seeking mindset to your relationship. What if you could see her not through rose-colored glasses, but through Stoic wisdom, raw, clear, and uncompromising? See, most people enter relationships with hope, not clarity. They ignore the red flags because they crave comfort. But hope is not a strategy. Marcus would say, don't argue what a good person should be. Just be one. And in our case, don't guess if she's loyal. Learn the signs. Face the truth. Hidden sign. 1. She withholds vulnerability. Close your eyes and think about the beginning. The first time you looked at her and thought, she might be different. Not just beautiful, not just fun, but safe. A woman you could finally let your guard down with. Do you remember what that felt like? Maybe you were lying next to her in the dark, her head on your chest, and the world finally went quiet. Maybe it was a late-night conversation where your walls came down without you even realizing. You told her about your childhood, that one scar on your soul that never quite healed. You talked about your fears, your goals, your failures, and for the first time in a long time, someone listened, or so you thought. But here's the part you don't say out loud. She never really opened up back. Not in the way you did. Sure, she shared surface-level stuff, stories about work, friends, maybe even her ex. But did she ever hand you the keys to her emotional world? Did she ever cry in front of you without rushing to wipe it away? Did she ever trust you enough to show the side of herself that wasn't perfect? Or were you just peeling back your layers while she kept hers safely untouched? That's the sign. That's the first hidden sign she's not truly loyal. Not just physically, but emotionally. You see, loyalty starts in the soul long before it shows in the body. When a woman withholds vulnerability, she's not just guarding herself from pain, she's guarding herself from connection. And without real connection, there is no real commitment. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man should be upright, not kept upright." In love, that means you shouldn't be the only one holding the whole relationship up with your effort, your honesty, your vulnerability. It has to be mutual. Let me ask you this. How many times have you shared something deep, something real, and she just changed the subject? Gave you that half smile and said, "Oh, babe," then scrolled back to her phone? How many nights did you lie next to her feeling lonely, even though she was right there? That's not just disconnection. That's a warning sign. A woman who loves you, really loves you, wants to be seen. She doesn't just want to know your heart. She wants to hand you hers. And when she doesn't, you start to feel it, that slow, quiet ache, like you're the only one diving deep while she floats safely on the surface. Maybe this sounds familiar. Maybe this feels personal. If it does, it's because this story is yours. And I'm telling you now, don't ignore it. Because withholding vulnerability isn't just a personality trait. It's often a defense mechanism, a mask, a sign she's not all in. And if she's not all in, why are you giving her everything? Don't go anywhere. We've only just begun. There are 10 more signs ahead, and by the end of this video, you're not just going to know if she's loyal. You're going to know if she ever really was. 2. Her words are different from her patterns. Have you ever been told you were loved but still felt completely alone? You hear her say it, "I love you." She tells you she's loyal, that she's all in, that you're her world. But something deep down doesn't sit right. You can't explain it. But the math just doesn't add up. She says she misses you, but rarely makes time to see you. She says you're the only one, but she's always hiding her phone, turning it face down when you're together. She says you can talk to her about anything, but when you do, she tunes out or turns it around on you. Let me ask you this, and be honest with yourself. When did her actions stop matching her words? Think back to the beginning. In the early days, everything she said felt real, and maybe it was. She'd text you good morning before you opened your eyes. She'd ask how your day was going without you needing to say a word. She'd show up for you, physically, emotionally, energetically. But somewhere along the way, the words stayed and the actions faded. And that's where the confusion begins. Because love isn't just what someone says. It's what they consistently do. When her patterns no longer align with her promises, that's a sign, a dangerous one. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. But in relationships, the soul becomes dyed with the truth of your patterns, not your promises." Anyone can say the right things, but patterns don't lie. Let me ask you something real. How many times has she told you, "I'm just tired," or "I've been busy," when you asked why she's been distant? How many nights have you waited for a call only to fall asleep with your phone still in your hand? It's not about being clingy. It's about needing clarity and feeling like you're being fed crumbs instead of commitment. And that's the story most men don't tell. We want to believe her. We choose to believe her because love makes us hopeful. But Stoicism teaches us to be honest with what we see. Marcus would say, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change." Apply that to your heart. If the facts don't support her words, stop clinging to the fantasy. A woman who's loyal doesn't just tell you, you feel it in her patterns. You don't have to guess. You don't have to wonder. Because when someone is truly in it with you, their consistency becomes your peace. Plan B, when you used to be Plan A. So here's the truth. If you're always left trying to reconcile what she says with how she acts, that's not love. That's confusion dressed up in pretty sentences, and you deserve better. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share in the next signs will either set you free or finally confirm what you've quietly known all along. Your Plan B, when you used to be Plan A. Do you remember what it felt like to be her priority? Not just someone she spent time with, but someone she couldn't wait to see. Someone she'd move mountains for, rearrange her schedule for, cancel plans for. Someone she'd stay up late just to talk to. You weren't just part of her life. You were her life. Think back. There was a time when your phone would light up with her name and you'd feel that flutter in your chest. She'd text you first. She'd ask if you'd eaten, if you got home safe, how your day was. She'd get excited to make plans, not find reasons to avoid them. Back then, you were plan A. You were her first thought in the morning and her last before she fell asleep. You were the one she looked at like you were the answer to a question she hadn't even asked yet. But somewhere along the line, you stopped being the priority and started being the backup. Now she hits you up when she's bored. She responds to your messages late, if at all. She makes vague promises to see you sometime next week, but always finds time for other people. You're no longer the one she drops everything for. You're the one she fits in when it's convenient. And the worst part, she still says you matter. She still gives you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But in love, we often ignore what's right. We cling to what's familiar, not what's true. So let me ask you this. When did her attention start to feel like a favor instead of a joy? When did your presence become an option, not a priority? And don't lie to yourself, because deep down, you feel it, that ache, that quiet humiliation of knowing you're always available for someone who's only sometimes available for you. This isn't about being needy. It's about being respected. It's about being with someone who makes you feel chosen, not just tolerated. When a woman is loyal, she doesn't just say she wants you. She shows it. With her time, her energy, her effort. She prioritizes you not because she has to, but because she wants to. Because you matter to her. If you're constantly being rescheduled, postponed, or placed behind everything else in her life, that's not love. That's emotional breadcrumbing. You are not plan B. You never were. You just started believing it because you loved her too much to see the shift. But love without loyalty? That's just a beautiful lie. Stay with me. Because the next sign might hit even harder. And by the end of this video, you'll finally have the clarity to stop settling for being someone's second choice, when you were always meant to be someone's only choice. 4. She keeps you a secret. Does it ever feel like you're in a relationship that only exists behind closed doors? Like you're in her world when it's just the two of you laughing, holding hands, whispering late into the night. But the moment you step outside, it's like you vanish. Like your name, your love, your presence gets erased from the public picture. If you've ever felt that, you're not crazy. Now think back to the start. Remember when everything was new and exciting? You'd talk for hours, get lost in each other's energy, make plans, dream out loud, and you knew this was something special. You felt it. She felt it too. Or at least that's what she said. But now, months have passed, maybe years, and yet you're still invisible. No Instagram post, no meet my friends, no mention of you to her family, no trace of your love anywhere that truly matters. She tells you it's because she's private. She says she doesn't like to post her personal life online. She claims she's just not ready for everyone to know. But deep down, you can feel it. You're not in a private relationship. You're in a hidden one. And those are two very different things. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. So why do you keep breaking your own heart by staying hidden in someone else's shadows?" Let me ask you this. When was the last time she proudly called you hers in front of someone else? When was the last time she introduced you as her man, her partner, her person, not just a friend or someone I know? If you're struggling to think of even one moment, that says everything. You see, when a woman is loyal, she wants the world to know, not because she needs attention or approval, but because she's proud of you. She wants to say, "This is the man I choose. This is the person I stand beside." But when she keeps you a secret, that's not shyness. That's not privacy. That's distance. That's someone keeping one foot in your world and the other firmly planted in the single life. And brother, let me say this with love. You were not made to be someone's guilty pleasure. You were made to be someone's proud decision. So if you're tired of being tucked away, of loving someone in the dark while she shines in the light without you, it's time to ask the hard question. Is she loyal to you or to the comfort of keeping her options open? Because love kept in secret too long starts to rot. Stick with me. The next sign cuts even deeper. But if you've made it this far, I know you're ready for the truth. And the truth will set your heart free. 5. She's emotionally available only when it benefits her. Have you ever felt like her emotions only show up when it's convenient for her? Like one moment she's cold, distant, unreadable, and then suddenly, when she needs comfort or attention or validation, she becomes soft again. She opens up just enough to pull you back in, and then disappears all over again. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, you're probably caught in one of the most subtle and painful signs of emotional disloyalty. Let me take you back. Remember that time you were going through something tough? Maybe you lost someone. Maybe work was beating you down. Maybe you were just tired, emotionally drained, and you reached out to her, hoping she'd hold some of your weight. And she barely responded. She was busy. She said, "I don't know what to say," and changed the subject. You felt like a burden just for feeling something. But then, when she had a bad day or a fight with a friend or just felt lonely, suddenly you were everything. She needed your time, your words, your energy, and you gave it because you love her, because you're that kind of man. But let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how her emotional availability only opens up when it serves her? That's not love. That's emotional self-service. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." But love, real love, isn't a privilege for one person while the other carries all the emotional labor. In a healthy, loyal relationship, emotional availability flows both ways. It's mutual, it's consistent, it's safe. But when someone only shows up emotionally when they need something and disappears when you do, that's not loyalty. That's manipulation disguised as affection. And here's the hardest part to admit. Sometimes the most dangerous kind of emotional unavailability is the one that pretends to be love. She'll cry on your shoulder, tell you she needs you, say things like, "You're the only one who understands me." But when the tables turn, she's nowhere to be found. You're not in a partnership, You're in a transaction. Let me ask you, how many times have you poured from your cup until you were empty, and she never refilled it? How many times have you been strong for her, but had to be strong for yourself too? That's not how it's supposed to be. Love is not a switch that flips on and off depending on who needs what. Loyalty isn't seasonal. And if she can only be vulnerable when it's to her advantage, then she's not truly with you. She's just using your heart as her temporary shelter. And you deserve more than to be her emotional safety net. Stick with me, because what's coming next might make everything suddenly click. And once it does, you'll never let anyone treat your heart like a convenience ever again. 6. Her future plans rarely include you. When was the last time she talked about the future and you were actually in it? Think about that. She talks about her dream job, where she wants to move, her solo trips, her personal goals. But where do you fit into that vision? Do you feel like a partner or a passenger she forgot to invite on the journey? Let's rewind to the beginning. Remember those early conversations when you both used to dream out loud? You'd talk about living together, maybe traveling the world, even starting a family one day. You could feel her excitement. You could see yourself in her future, not as a question mark, but as a certainty. It felt good, right? But somewhere along the line, those conversations changed, or worse, they stopped happening altogether. Now, when she talks about the next step in her life, she's saying, I, not we. Her goals are hers. Her timelines are hers. You've become the silent character in the story of her life. And here's the part that stings. When you bring up the future, she gets uncomfortable. She says things like, let's not plan too far ahead, or let's just enjoy the moment. Sounds sweet, until it becomes a pattern. Because love, my friend, is more than passion in the moment. It's commitment to the moments yet to come. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let's flip that. Waste no more time wondering what real love looks like. Watch what it includes. And real love includes you in the plan, not by accident, not as a maybe, but as a must. Let me ask you, have you started shrinking your dreams just to fit into hers? Have you started waiting to make your own plans, hoping she might eventually include you in hers? If so, that's not love. That's limbo. And limbo is the slowest way to lose yourself. Because when someone loves you and is loyal to you, their future naturally wraps around you, not because they have to, but because they want to. A woman who sees you as her forever doesn't talk about someday without seeing you right there beside her. So if she talks about the next city she wants to live in, the new life she wants to build, the family she might have one day, and you're always noticeably missing from the picture, that's not loyalty. That's emotional distancing dressed as independence. You deserve someone who not only dreams with you, but builds with you, who plans for the future and makes damn sure you're a part of it. Because love without a shared vision is like building a house with no blueprint. It might look nice in the beginning, but eventually it falls apart. Stick with me. What's coming next will reveal even deeper truths. And if you've ever wondered whether you're being loved fully, you're about to find out. 7. Her words. Say, I love you, but her actions. Whisper, I don't. Have you ever heard her say, I love you, and still felt completely alone? If your answer is yes, then you've tasted one of the most confusing and heartbreaking kinds of love there is. Let's take it back for a moment. Do you remember the first time she said those 3 words? Maybe you were lying next to each other, her head on your chest. Maybe you were holding hands in the car, music playing low in the background, and when she said it, your heart nearly exploded, didn't it? It felt real. It felt pure. Like finally, everything made sense. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. She still says she loves you when you're upset, when she's in the mood, or maybe when she feels guilty after a fight. But the energy behind it, it's different. It's like those words became a shield. Something to say so you don't question what's missing. Because here's the hard truth. I love you means nothing when her actions scream otherwise. She says she loves you, but suddenly she's too busy for you. She says she loves you, but constantly forgets what matters to you. She says she loves you, but doesn't notice when you're hurting, or worse, doesn't care. And still, you hold on. Because you remember the version of her who showed love, not just spoke it. You remember the girl who used to text you good morning, who used to notice the smallest details about your mood, who used to fight to make you feel seen. Now, you're clinging to words, while her actions pull away from you one day at a time. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So let me ask you, what color is your love now? Because if her love only lives in her words, but never in her choices, never in her consistency, never in how she shows up for you, then what you have is an illusion dressed as affection. Let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you felt loved by her without having to hear it? Not because she said it, but because she showed it. Through her patience, her loyalty, her attentiveness, her presence. If you're having to search your memory for that moment, then you already know. Words can be beautiful, yes, but they're also cheap. When spoken by someone who doesn't live by them, a loyal woman doesn't have to convince you she loves you. You feel it in the way she holds you, listens to you, respects you, and chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient. So if her lips are whispering, "I love you," but her actions are constantly making you question it, then maybe, just maybe, she loves the idea of you more than she actually loves you. Stay with me. The next sign might be the one that breaks the illusion for good. And when that happens, you'll finally stop chasing words and start demanding action. 8. She's quick to blame you, slow to own her mistakes. And if it keeps happening, you start to ask yourself, am I really the bad guy here? Am I always messing up? Is love supposed to feel like walking on eggshells? Now pause. Take a breath. Have you ever been in love with someone who never says, "I'm sorry," unless they absolutely have to? She'll argue with you for hours, twist your words, defend her tone, her attitude, her silence. But when it comes time to take responsibility, she disappears, emotionally, physically, or both. Suddenly, she's cold, distant, waiting for you to fix everything, even if she was the one who broke it. You might be thinking, but that's just how she is. She's been through stuff. She doesn't like confrontation. She needs time. And sure, people have scars. We all do. But here's the truth Marcus Aurelius would want you to remember. If someone does wrong, it is because they are mistaken about what is right. And it is your job to see clearly. That means don't let someone else's emotional immaturity blind you to the truth. A woman who is loyal, truly loyal will care more about the relationship than her pride. She'll own her mistakes. She'll apologize without you begging for it. She'll meet you halfway. Because love, real love, is never about winning arguments. It's about protecting connection. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time she genuinely took accountability? Without flipping the script, without making excuses, without making you the villain? When was the last time she looked at you, saw your hurt, and said, "That one's on me. I'm sorry"? If you're struggling to remember, that's not a good sign. Because loyalty isn't just about not cheating. It's about emotional maturity. And when someone refuses to acknowledge their own faults, they're not just avoiding responsibility. They're telling you that your feelings don't matter as much as their ego. And that kind of love, it's not sustainable. It's not safe. Over time, it'll turn you into someone you barely recognize. Someone who apologizes just to keep the peace, not because you did something wrong. So if she's quick to point the finger, but never looks in the mirror, you're not in a partnership. You're in a blame game. And brother, that's not love. That's slow erosion with a smile on top. Stick around. The next sign will open your eyes even wider, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start to see your worth again. 9. She avoids difficult conversations. How many times have you tried to have a serious conversation with her, only to be met with silence, deflection, or frustration? You know what I mean. Those moments when you try to open up about something important, something that's been sitting heavy on your heart. You approach her with honesty, with vulnerability, maybe even with a little fear, because relationships are built on the foundation of communication, right? But instead of a calm, mature discussion, you get a change of subject, a quick walk out, or worse, an argument that somehow twists everything back on you. Now you're stuck, feeling misunderstood, feeling like you're always the one who needs to adjust, but never gets the chance to voice your feelings. And every time you bring something up that's been bothering you, she either shuts down or turns the conversation into a battle of wills. You end up feeling like you're begging for attention, for understanding, for connection. And slowly, you start questioning yourself. Is this all in my head? Am I overreacting? But let me tell you this, avoiding hard conversations doesn't make the problem disappear. It only builds a wall between you. Now, think back to when things were fresh between you two. The days when you'd sit up late talking about everything and nothing, your dreams, her dreams, the fears you shared, the quirks that made you laugh, the deep talks about your past, your future, the what-ifs of life. It felt easy, didn't it? Talking about the tough stuff, knowing that even if you didn't agree on everything, you could still hear each other, still understand one another. But somewhere along the way, that disappeared. Now, every time you try to be real, every time you want to confront something difficult, it feels like you're facing a wall. And it doesn't stop there. When she avoids hard conversations, she's not just avoiding conflict, she's avoiding connection. She's avoiding the very thing that builds a strong relationship, emotional intimacy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But here's the kicker. If every obstacle in your relationship gets swept under the rug, nothing ever truly gets solved. And in the end, those unresolved issues become the very thing that tears you apart. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you felt truly heard by her? Not just listened to, not just acknowledged, but truly heard. When was the last time you brought something important to the table and she responded with the same respect, care, and commitment that you showed her? If you can't remember, if the silence is louder than the conversation itself, then you're being kept in the dark. And here's the sad part. She's not helping you. She's hurting you. Because love isn't about avoiding the tough stuff. It's about facing it together. And if she's not willing to engage in those hard conversations, then maybe, just maybe, she's not ready to truly build with you. She's only willing to show up for the easy stuff, the fluff. But what happens when life throws a curveball? What happens when it's no longer about fun dates, but real talk about your future, your challenges, your dreams? That's when you'll see if she's truly ready to be your partner, or if she's just keeping you in a comfort zone where nothing ever changes. Stay with me, because the next sign may finally help you understand if you're building a future or just wasting your time. 10. She prioritizes others over. Have you ever felt like you were just one of many people in her life rather than the most important one? Maybe you've been there, where her friends, her family, or even her career come first, and you're left waiting for scraps of her time, attention, and energy. You've tried to be understanding. You've tried to be patient. But after a while, it starts to hurt. You start to realize you're not her priority. Maybe it's been that way for a while now. She'll cancel plans to hang out with her friends. But when you try to plan a special evening for the two of you, she's too busy. Or maybe you've been excited about spending quality time together, just the two of you. But then you find out she's off at a family gathering, or her friends need her, or work calls her away yet again. At first you tell yourself, it's not a big deal. Life happens. We all get busy. But then the pattern repeats. And the more it happens, the more you start to wonder, am I not important enough to be prioritized in her life? Think back to the beginning of your relationship. Remember those first few months when everything was new? You couldn't get enough of each other. You'd make time to talk, to be together. You found new ways to show each other how much you mattered. She'd go out of her way to surprise you, to make you feel special, like you were the center of her world. It felt good, didn't it? But somewhere along the way, the excitement faded, the effort slowed, and instead of you being at the top of her list, you were shoved to the bottom of the pile. Let me ask you this. How often have you gone the extra mile for her? You've made sacrifices. You've put her needs above your own. You've rearranged your schedule, your plans, your entire day just to make her happy. But when it comes to her, how often does she do the same for you? Loyalty isn't just about not cheating. It's about making each other feel seen, valued, and prioritized. When someone truly cares for you, they'll make an effort to put you first. Not all the time, but in the moments that matter. But if she's constantly putting her friends, her family, or her work above you, and you're always the one who has to fit into the cracks of her schedule, then something's missing. Love should never feel like an afterthought. Let's pause for a second. When was the last time she made you feel like you were the most important person in her life? Not just with words, but with actions. Not just in the easy moments, but in the hard ones too. When was the last time you truly felt like you mattered to her? In a way that went beyond just being there. If you're starting to feel like you're constantly waiting for her attention or like you're always being placed on the back burner, then maybe it's time to rethink whether you're getting the love and respect you deserve. Loyalty means showing up when it matters. It's not about competing with the rest of her life. It's about being included in it. You don't want to be a side dish to her life. You want to be the main course, a part of her journey, her future, her heart. And if she's unwilling to prioritize you, then it might be time to stop settling for scraps. Stay with me. The next sign might just help you finally see the full picture and know exactly where you stand in this relationship. 11. She's always keeping secrets or hiding things from you. Have you ever felt like something was off? But when you asked her about it, she brushed it off, avoided the question, or completely shut you down. Let me take you back to that feeling, that gut instinct you've had in your relationship, when you knew something wasn't right, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. Maybe it was the little things. She'd act distant or distracted, but when you asked what was going on, she'd say, "Nothing. I'm fine." You've been there, right? You've looked her in the eyes, trying to read her, because something about her energy told you this isn't normal. But every time you ask, she insists everything is fine. You're left wondering, are my suspicions just a result of my own insecurities? Or is something deeper going on that she's not telling me about? And then maybe you start to notice patterns. She's on her phone more often, but when you come around, she hides the screen or quickly switches apps. She's talking to people you've never heard of. She's doing things without telling you, but when you ask, it's nothing important. And every time the pieces don't quite fit, something's off. But every time you try to connect the dots, she brushes you off or turns the tables, making you feel guilty for even asking. I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever caught her in a lie? Not a big one, but one of those small, almost invisible lies that leave you questioning her trustworthiness? It's not always the big secrets that are most damaging. It's the constant little things that she hides from you, the ones she thinks don't matter, the conversations she has behind your back, the time she spends on her own, which she can't quite explain, even though she assures you that it's nothing. At first, it's easy to write it off. Maybe she's just shy. Maybe she's trying to protect me from something that's not a big deal. Or maybe I'm just overthinking things. But what happens when that feeling never goes away? Every time she's distant, every time she shuts down, every time she hides something from you, you begin to feel like you're being kept in the dark. Slowly, you realize that this isn't about her protecting you. It's about her not trusting you enough to be fully open. Marcus Aurelius said, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." In other words, if something's wrong in the relationship, if trust is broken, it's going to poison the whole connection. Do you remember the first time you trusted someone fully? That feeling of letting down your guard, being open with them about everything, your fears, your dreams, your deepest secrets. That's what loyalty feels like. That's what honesty feels like. It's a level of connection that no secrets or lies can break. But when she's always hiding something from you, no matter how small it seems, that's not a relationship built on trust. That's a relationship built on walls. And those walls get higher, thicker, and harder to tear down the longer they're in place. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were just a part of her story, but not the full truth of it? When was the last time you were completely trusted? Not just trusted to love her, but trusted with her true self, without filters, without secrets, without lies. If you can't remember if that trust feels like something lost in the distance, then it's time to ask yourself, are you really a partner in this relationship? Or are you just someone she's keeping in the dark? Stay with me. The next sign will help you see the relationship with clearer eyes and give you the power to decide what comes next. Why do we stay when we know the truth? Because deep down, we're all terrified of loss. We confuse love with possession and loyalty with longevity. But here's a Stoic truth. It is better to walk alone in truth than together in a lie. When a woman is no longer loyal, she doesn't have to say it out loud. Her actions speak, her energy shifts, her silence screams, and your soul, it feels it all. That's why Marcus wrote every morning, to stay grounded, to remember what matters. And what matters is this: you are not a victim. You are not powerless. You are not blind. You are a man capable of seeing clearly, acting justly, and letting go gracefully. What to do next? The Stoic response: 1. Don't react emotionally. Respond with stillness. 2. Observe more, speak less. Let her actions reveal everything. 3. Seek solitude. That's where clarity lives. 4. Do not chase. Let her go if her loyalty has already left. 5. Focus on yourself. Build virtue, discipline, and self-respect. Marcus would say, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't force loyalty. You can only recognize when it's no longer there, and choose your next step with dignity. So, here's the final truth. If she's not loyal, the worst thing you can do is wait for proof. Stoicism teaches us that the signs are enough, and our job isn't to change people, it's to change our response to them. You deserve someone who chooses you fully, not someone who keeps you around because it's convenient. And with that said, thanks for watching. And until next time.